Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What does sensorality stabilize? So we're trying to show the direct iteration, integration, inversion, demonstrate, identify sensorality's natural definition. And we're doing so by just progressing our logic, taking one linguistical step, physical step, mathematical step, whatever section of ontology we're in, one step forward and just seeing where it takes us. But we're arriving at the natural definition of sensorality. So last time we had sensorality is movability. Movability, viability, right? If we take again, we can see movability, that MO, these first, again, something I do very intuitively, but those first two units are like stabilized, so you can kind of chop them off and then we just renormalize linguistically. Sensorality is vability, just the VA from movability. And as we can see, that is again this working the I in and out of the word. Vability is one letter away, the I from viability. Worth pointing out, not sure what's going on exactly. Is generosity powerful? Because now we've shown completely generosity is energy, conceptually, literally, physically, and generosity is energeticality, is the complete bridging of motion to emotion. And so, is generosity powerful? Yes. And we can state the fundamental theorem of emotion. Generosity is the capacity / potential. I literally have both words written down. I know we've said, and again, each one of these statements are theorems. But it's really not even that insightful, right? Constructing a proof, putting all of these pieces, bits of evidence together, and doing analysis and coming to a conclusion. What is the definition of sensorality? But worth pointing out again, capacity and potential. On a personal level, I'm like, what word's the most precise? I think about it enough to point it out to you. Generosity is the capacity to do good work, right? Energy, the capacity to do work, most generally, or in slang operative definition, movement potential. Energy, it's like full physical definition, right? The capacity, or I would say the capacity to do work, more so than the potential. Doesn't really matter, but then, right, the capacity to do work requires movement, energy is movement potential, energy is generosity, linguistically, physically, literally, logically. Energy iterated with an so and an it. But you go from the potential or capacity to do work to the capacity to do good work, right? Generosity, memorality. Remembering what is right, right? And then we've derived the natural definition of generosity. Generosity, gifts. Sensorality is a gift. So let's give a shout out again to the Institute for Advanced Study, home to our great intellectual Edward Witten. As well, if you are watching this derivation, you can go find, I've told this story. I personally showed up to the Institute of Advanced Study when I had initially done all this mathematical proofing. Because we were now at the end where we were reducing the entirety of logical structure, that is language, demonstrating a specific solution, sensorality, to resolve, to demonstrate the general form of all solutions. It is what it is. And so, again, mathematical proofing to the point where it's like completely legitimate to show up to a research institution and say, well, here is my constitutional rights, what are you guys doing? And so I showed up to the Institute for Advanced Study. You drive past Gödel Boulevard and Einstein Avenue or whatever, but literally named after famous scientist. Go in there, some chick at the front desk, clearly aware of my work, and this is at the initial mathematical proofing. I mean, at this point, we've again reduced all logical structure. And this is on my lap 3. But I go in there, again, they're all committing fraud, they're all part of a racket, and they're also so privileged and pathetic they can't take responsibility for their actions. So I kid you not, to the people watching this in the future, a school that is, again, a research institution where they don't even have students, it is for scientific research, a big one being physics. He says to me, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. At which point I just ask him, what would you say to somebody that's destroying your family? And he kind of gets all like flustered. He's like, oh, this is a historical moment. This is a gotcha. And he literally like takes like a leaf off a bush and just like throws it. And he's like, oh, just like, right? The one time I meet the smart science guy. You asked me to leave again again, I don't even, IAS, again, it's a defunct organization and waiting to happen. But I mean, it's just a level of disrespect. And again, criminal activity, that's just undeniable. And then what do? No one gives a flying fuck. But he said, I have a gift, right? I'm going to have to ask you to leave after saying I have a gift. Well, you destroyed my family, you destroyed my life, my rights continue to be violated, and nothing has changed since that day, and nothing is going to change because there are no rules. But sensorality is a gift, so I figured I'd shout out to the guy at the Institute for Advanced Study once again, and obviously sue him until he can't possibly have any money left, throw him into jail for committing crimes with all of the criminal punishments that comes along with that activity. But gifts are given, right? Generosity, gifts. Sensorality is giveability. Sensorality is movability. We did that last time. That was the title of the last episode. Sensorability is removability. Right, now we're back to, again, the conceptual definition. If you censor something, you're removing something. Sensorability is removability. Censoring moves. Soaring is moving. Mass is movable, right? Movable is sensible, right? In theory right now today, again, emphasizing light has the same speed in all reference frames. It's not moving. Light is not moving. Radiation is not moving. Mass moves. Radiation radiates. Movable is sensible, right? When you're in the woods and you hear a noise and you see something in your visual field, in your periphery, and it catches your eye, right? Motion is sensible. Again, worth pointing out, I'm still going sensible with an A-B-L-E to an S-E-N-S-I-B-L-E. The I in the A iteration, still pointing it out because it is cognizant to me. Sensorality is sensible. Mass is sensible. Watch, I'm going to prove it to you. Right? I can feel my notebook. Yep, I can sense my notebook. Mass is sensible. Movability is mobility. Sensorality is mobilitality. Sensorality mobilizes. And then that mobilitality, right, that's kind of, you get military kind of from that word form as well. Again, like I said, exhausting even like the theorems, right? You can immediately say sensorality is militarity or militality, or you can exhaust the word forms. Those aren't even like insightful to me at this point. Sensorosity is voluminous. Sensorality is sensorosity. Volume is full. Sensorality is voluminosity. So now we're getting to another big physical restatement of the fundamental theorem of physics. Can you guess it? You should be able to. It's pretty obvious. What is generosity to voluminosity? Right? Generosity is now, again, you can just literally think of it as the most comprehensive, complete, generalized form of energy. If someone has good vibes, if they are generous. But, right, what is energy to volume? And so, right, mass per unit volume is density. Density is definite. Energy is movement potential. So the more volume, the more space, the more movement potential. Proportional. What is volume to space? Right? Because again, all of our words are what you would call are three-dimensional. Right? In mathematics, ontology, or even history, you talk about solving something in 2 dimensions and then solving something in 3 dimensions, the 3-body problem. All of your words, all of your conceptualization is already linguistically represented in what you would say 3 dimensions. But again, we have this fundamental stability of 2 and then openness, not really 3 dimensions. But point being is, why do we have this word volume and why do we have this word space? Right? They have different functionality. Posing the question, pointing it out, moving along, addressing it if it's relevant in the future. Is volume a place? Right? A place is a where. Where is volume? Right? It's internal. Volume is internal. But regardless, sensorality speaks volumes, right? That is a phrase you'll hear. It'll begin, because remember, this entire reduction process I've already done, and so I'm like referencing points where I've done this reduction before. There was a song, some sort of like metalcore, "The silence speaks volumes." But speaking volumes is a phrase you'll hear in a lot of different contexts, or a lot of different times. Sensorality, directly pairing it to the phrase, speaks volumes. Then I just have charge, mass, and information. Just remember our fundamentality physically is charge. That is our fundamental dichotomy. That dynamic mass emerges, energy is related to that. We ask the question, can information move? If you want to say mass is informative, sure. But again, all of these words are uniquely related. And so that's the infinite uniqueness, that's the specialness of definitions. And so I just have charge, mass, and then I literally wrote a line, and then the word information, and then I just wrote the theorem, motion is informational, right? How fast something is going gives me data about the state of the system, right? If this thing is falling down at minus 9.8 meters per second squared, the acceleration of the gravitational field of Earth, that motion is giving me information, directly, literally. And so kind of conceptually, like, comprehensively encapsulating, just saying, you know, anything that all of the things which are always in motion, right? That motion is informational, encapsulating all of the property that those things contain. Motion is informational, sensorality is informationality, vibrational information theory. Again, just I had to put some packaging on a again, it's not a mathematical proof. Even that is, again, an immediate reduction of what I'm doing. But you guys are so arrogant, delusional, and frankly incompetent that you have to try to say the buzzwords that you guys kind of know and then just dump then dump actual proofing onto you. And so now, again, right, fluency is influential, information is influential. And so again, trying to work up to this like inverse, or show sensorality is an inverse of sensorality, C and the S. Everything we've been calling integration, inversion, iteration is all now at this point a direct linguistic demonstration. But information is influential. And then we can restate the fundamental theorem of physics. Don't forget, I just referenced it. Did you get it? Right? Sensorality is voluminosity. What is the base of volume? Luminosity is the base of volume. Voluminosity is luminosity. And so that is the most general thing we can say about physics now. Because remember, this derivation is in order. That's another level of like imperceptibly different to you people, you troglodytes like Terence Tao and Edward Witten. Can't even solve all of science multiple times? Rookies. But point being is it's just chronologically, I can just feel when it's like the most comprehensive thing. Like, and look around you, right? Density is definite, mass per unit volume. What is volume, right? When I turn up my volume on my headphones, what am I doing, right? Power is energy velocity. If I turn up my volume, the current's going faster, and immediately, directly. If I'm in my car and turn up my volume, or I turn up the volume on my phone, right? Is it getting bigger? Is my phone getting like larger? Is it occupying more space? No. So, right, what is volume? But volume is bright. Luminosity is bright. Voluminous, luminosity. Volume is bright. What is volume to love? All right, volume is full. And then obvious linguistic similarity, love, those letters completely used by volume with the additional M and U. Finally, sensorality is influentiality. Connecting, again, there's no point to try to explain anything. We're just building up our definition. And then once we build up our definition, we'll again calculate that self-contained question to elicit what is the theme of mathematics, right? Thematics is mathematics. Getting to that level of iteration, but again, all of this stuff has to come together. And so, no point to try to comment on anything else. Sensorality is influential. Thank you for watching. My rights continue to be violated. It is completely illegal. All I've asked for, all I continue to ask for, to whoever watches these videos, I can't turn on a TV screen or a YouTube video without the people being aware of my work for years upon years upon years. There's no even I don't even see the world interacting with me anymore. And so I've just been asking for a little bit of money to eat properly, to sleep properly, and to work. Stuff that I have never experienced in my entire life is all directly illegal. And you guys are so privileged and entitled, you just don't understand that I've been brutally tortured very legitimately since I've been forming memories. I have no conscious awareness of ever feeling safe. But I continue to work regardless. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.